So it's a very, very long chase at those high rates of speed. I don't know how many charges this person's going to be facing for not only the chase here, but for whatever he was fleeing for in the first place. And a number of units you see took him out. It looks like those stop sticks did their job, but I am speculating there. And finally, they spin him around. They always practice those maneuvers, the Highway Patrol. That's why they have those bumper guards on the fronts of their cars. You see those, and you wonder what those are for. It's for that purpose. And they took the guy out. Luckily, no one was hurt along the way as he was making those dangerous exits, entrances back onto the highway, going through stop signs as we saw him. Will, have you got anything else?
Well, right now, Police 1 and all that, as they're taking off to the north, they're mission complete right now. They didn't have any indication from the ground units what made this guy run like that. They were just called out like we all heard over the scanners to assist in this chase so they didn't lose the vehicle in that heavy traffic earlier, because they didn't want to push the driver here to go any faster and create any safety issues.
Well, we've got,
so again, still not any reason why he ran like this, but traffic is stopped still here on 44, and it's going to be stopped for some time while they conduct the search through this vehicle and apprehend this driver.
Will, quickly pull out and show us the backup if you can. We've got 10 seconds. Can you show us the backup?
We're going to move to the left. Dustin, move to the left. We're going to start showing you the barricade here.
And we got to
to the left and show the traffic that we have.
We've got to dump out of this, Will. So it's backed up going westbound. We're going to go back to our programming. And we'll see you on our newscast at 5 o'clock. You see they've got the traffic stop way back there. So there's going to be a delay in getting home if you're heading westbound on the Turner Turnpike. We'll appreciate it. We'll see you back here at 5 o'clock in about an hour. And then you look at that. That's going to be a headache. Keep supper warm tonight for the folks coming home. Back to our Dr. Phil, which will begin here in about 4 o'clock.
I think when you do a live performance, you feel.
I don't have to wait. Good morning, everyone. I'm Art Rascone reporting, and we have live breaking news to bring to you. Here we go again. Another high-speed chase. This one on the Beltway. This guy refuses to stop at a. I think the police officers were attempting to try and stop him, and he refused to stop, and then he just went on his way. I believe it was a common traffic stop initially, but there we have the Beltway. There's the vehicle. It is a black sedan. You can see several police officers behind him. He's been on the run now for at least maybe about 10 minutes and continues to move. I'm not sure which direction on the Beltway. Perhaps we can get some more information, but all we know is that it's on the Beltway. Not sure if it's north, south, east, or west, or the other direction either. But he has refused to stop, and we do know that the officers have been chasing him for about 10 minutes here. We don't know why he's running, other than that the police officers apparently tried to stop him for a traffic violation, and he refused to stop. But we don't know any other reason other than that. Samika Knight as well has just joined me, and as we continue to watch this high-speed chase.
So we're being told that there's only one person in that car, and it looks like a dark Chrysler. They're speeding past those cars there. Northeast Harris County on Beltway 8. Of course, we're trying to confirm exactly which direction that driver is going in right now. Does it look like he's slowing down a little bit, Art, or maybe still
I don't believe so. He's speeding by those vehicles like they're practically standing still. He seems to move it along at a pretty good pace. Officers have only said that they've been chasing him for about that time and that it was a simple traffic violation as a result of him just not stopping. That's why they continue to chase, but not sure why he's running.
So, North Beltway coming around towards I-10 on the east side. Again, one person in that car, and you can sort of see him there as Sky is following this chase. Police, HPD, close behind the driver there. We don't know what led to this chase, why he refused to stop, but we do see him flying past vehicles there on the Beltway. So, of course, if you are in that area, if you know anyone in the area, ask them to make sure that they are aware of this and be very careful here.
This is northbound on the Beltway. Not sure if it is east Beltway northbound or west Beltway northbound, but we know it's northbound on the Beltway. So it's northeast Harris County, so it must be east Beltway heading.
They're approaching Highway 90 now, we're being told, Art, here, our producer chiming in about that. Again, we do not know why this suspect took off. You mentioned that it was a traffic stop, right?
Violation of some sort on the highway or a roadway, and then officers tried to stop him, and he didn't stop. If they're going northbound on the East Beltway, then they're going to be approaching Highway 90. That's just past Wallaceville Road. If they continue to move this direction, they're going to be eventually getting into like the Summerwood area, and then they swing around.
Right.
And eventually headed westbound on the Beltway.
And
you have officers as well right there on the feeder road following him, attempting to keep up, and then those on the Beltway as well.
And it appears that, we're listening in to our producer, he just crossed new Highway 90. So for those in that area, you see the school bus there, speeding past this school bus. And as you mentioned, Art, their HPD, what appears to be HPD, and I'm sure Harris County Sheriff's deputies there, as they are in northeast Harris County, following this chase. And you can see spike strips being put out. Oh, wow, the suspect now going on a grassy area, going around the spike strips as police are, Harris County Sheriff's deputies and police.
Well,
he did go
what
around the spike strips.
He went right around those spike strips. He's familiar with what he's doing then, but he's slowing down. He's not going nearly as fast. Don't know whether if any of the tires were affected as a result of him going off the road like that.
Picking up
onto
speed
the
again.
brush, but he's again picking up speed. Apparently he's seen what they do, what the officers, he was well aware of what they were going to be doing. You can see the window is down. It looks like, well, he just rolled
the
it
window up there.
Yeah, tinted windows there, but you saw he was wearing a white shirt or a white T-shirt. He's picking up speed again, went right around those spike strips. And there is no shoulder, or there was no frontage road, excuse me. No feeder here, but he's now pulling over again. Let's see.
Here he is,
he's going to be trying to get it onto.
Trying to go as
right through the rain and mud.
Police officer trying to sort of box him in there. Now, do we know his location now, Lauren? Talking to our producer.
Still northbound on the Beltway. This is the East Beltway northbound, and now he's on the feeder.
Approaching the East Freeway, and you see HPD, Harris County Sheriff's deputies, and see him zipping past these cars. How dangerous is that? He's now on the feeder road, slowing down, making a right turn here into, is this a subdivision? Actually, let's see, it appears to be a subdivision, heading into a subdivision there, speeding through, blowing past these stop signs, maybe a parking lot of some sort. Let's see if we can pull out here and see exactly where he's going. Speeding through this parking lot on the east side here, northeast Harris County, near Beltway 8 still. This is a parking lot, potentially the 99-cent store parking lot, if I'm familiar with this area.
Well, he's
yes, a Wendy's 99-cent store, familiar with this area.
Clearly still trying to get away, but now back on the feeder road.
And this may actually be Wood Forest Drive here. You see him going through these stoplights, very dangerous. This is a heavily populated area. I believe this is Wood Forest Drive, speeding past here. If he keeps going, he will pass a school very soon. I believe this is in the North Shore area. So certainly if you are in this area, take heed that there is a police chase going on. The suspect, the single suspect in that vehicle. Ooh,
oh, there he goes, just smashing into the vehicle. Let's hope that vehicle is okay, or the person's in that car.
There are 2 or 3.
We have
now
3
the suspect
vehicles.
jumping
now
out of the car.
Jumping out, and the guns are drawn.
Guns drawn.
He looks like he's trying to do something.
Possibly gunshots being fired right now. So we're pulling out just a little bit as police try to apprehend this suspect.
All right, let's watch for a moment and calm down as we look and see what happens. You can see the man there on the ground. You can see the officers with their guns drawn. Shots were definitely fired. He appeared as though he was reaching for something. They are right there on top of him now, getting him in handcuffs, no doubt. He ran into one vehicle, made him veer off to another, and smashed into an SUV. And that was right there on the feeder road in northeast Harris County. We if they can push in just a bit, because we can't see anything at this point.
This is potentially Wood Forest Drive
That's
or
good enough. That's
Wallaceville
good.
Drive.
That's good. That's good.
You can see the suspect
All right,
being
the suspect
handcuffed.
is clearly down on the ground. They're not sure. At this point, we want to keep our distance, of course, and be careful with and sensitive to this situation. But clearly the officers there on the scene, with their guns drawn initially, shots were fired because you could see that smoke from in the individual pistols. Don't know how many shots were fired, but he slammed right into that small, what appears to be a smart car. Let's hope the individual in that car is okay. Then he, well, yeah, I guess we're told that it was a PT Cruise that he ran into, which allowed him to lose control, eventually running into an SUV. Then he got out of the vehicle.
Gunshots being fired. And we're going to...
Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and re-rack the video. There it is, and this is the last few seconds. You can see the sedan running this on the feeder road here, and watch this closely.
Oh.
Boom, that's where he hits the vehicle. Then he loses control, of course, hits an SUV, which hits another vehicle. Then he jumps out, and then he goes back in.
Right.
Not sure what he's doing there, but then that's when shots were fired. There it is again, another smash of that vehicle on the intersection, then that SUV hitting another van. He gets out, gets back in, and then that's when the shots were fired.
Right. So right
Immediately
now,
after that.
you're taking a live look at the scene here as investigators now sort of try to itemize evidence here on the scene. They're putting down the numbers potentially for bullet shell casings. Right now, we're trying to figure out the condition of the suspect, also the condition of those drivers in that white car, as you saw, the one that seemed to have been heavily impacted there by that crash, and also the driver of the two SUVs as a result of that crash. Again, northeast Harris County, potentially either Wood Forest or Wallaceville Road. We do know that this is in the North Shore area. In that parking lot, you see...
Before it came to this tragic end. Now, of course, officers in this case, the adrenaline is running. They jump out of their vehicle. We don't have the advantage, of course, of hearing anything that was spoken on the ground. But clearly there were words exchanged. But at this point, you can see the vehicle there at a distance. You can see it had crashed into the SUV. And you can see a white tarp over the suspect in this case. So presumably the man passed away, but we don't have that confirmed, of course. And we don't have any ambulance services there at the scene. We don't have any emergency services other than a host of police deputies, of police officers, and Harris County deputies as well. And then you have the white indicators there on the road.
The condition, we haven't confirmed the condition of the suspect. We have seen some sort of white sheet, if you will, on the scene here. We have not confirmed his condition. We're still trying to confirm the condition of the driver of this car. We see investigators now opening the passenger doors, potentially a passenger in there, or maybe just a driver, but they are checking on certainly the driver of the car. We are hearing now that it appears that the suspect was fatally wounded in this chase, a shooting, and we are again hearing that the suspect appears to be dead.
That was, as we showed the pictures earlier, when they put the white sheet over him, that was the presumption that he had passed away in this shooting. But that's all we can say at this point. We don't have that confirmed, but he's presumably dead as a result of the shooting. This vehicle right here was hit really, really hard. What you're looking at now is the blue sedan that the suspect was driving, and the other SUV there, the brown one. The body lays just beyond that blue SUV and with a white tarp over it. The other vehicle that was heavily damaged was, of course, that vehicle which is just below all of that. If the camera can just slide just a little bit below that, you can see the white vehicle that was smashed really, really hard during that intersection collision. We know that the driver of that vehicle, in fact, is still attempting to get out of the vehicle. There doesn't seem to be a huge rush in the attempt to get that person out, that driver out. So At this point, we're just presuming that that driver is okay, just needing medical attention and presumably waiting for ambulances and paramedics to arrive to go ahead and administer any type of help that he might need.
Now, we just received some new information in here. The traffic stop, it was a routine traffic stop that began just before 10. That traffic stop happening along, we believe, Weaver Road. And to my producer, correct me if I'm wrong, but we believe that traffic stop happened on Weaver Road, that is. Lasted about 30 minutes. As you saw there in the video, authorities confirming now that the suspect did exit the vehicle and then he reached back in, as you saw there in the video.
You know that the shots were fired and that the man was down and that he has presumably been killed as a result because a white sheet was placed over him.
Right, and again, we're taking a look there at the video shot earlier from Sky HD as that suspect just sped past even a school bus there, going around Harris County deputies as they try to put out a spike strip for the suspect, eventually going into this intersection, crashing into a white truck there and then into one SUV, which then crashed into another, going out of the vehicle, reaching back in, couldn't tell exactly what he was reaching for or what he had in his hands after he came back out of that car, but we do know that gunshots were fired thereafter, and you could see, as Art, you mentioned, the smoke there coming from those gunshots, and we've confirmed that the suspect is down. That crash, ending the chase that started 30 minutes earlier, ending it at Wallaceville Road and Castlegorry. And as Carla mentioned, she's being moved now, and we'll probably get her up in just a few minutes, but this is right in front of North Shore Middle School.
They're moving that police line back even further, trying to, I guess, expand the investigation. So we're looking at the...
And we're going right to Carla now, who has a witness here. Carla, if you can hear us, we'd like to talk to you and talk to that witness, if you don't mind.
Yeah, guys, as I said, police officers asked us to move over. Thank you for spending some time with us this morning. Again, this is a ground view of the impact the Chryslers had on several vehicles. From what we saw on Sky Eye HD, the blue car first crashed into the white car, a small car. It crashed head on, and then it impacted the brown, the tan-colored Explorer over there. The tan Explorer then crashed into another vehicle that is pulled over on the side of the road. We're looking at a close-up shot at the victim's car right now. Obviously, a lot of devastation. The suspect's car has several bullet holes on the window. We don't know how many shots were fired. We also don't know if the suspect fired any shots back at the police officers. Again, we understand that there were at least 3 other vehicles impacted during this high-speed chase. We don't know the condition of the driver in the white car. We don't know the condition of the driver in the tan Ford Explorer, but we do know that a woman who was driving a silver SUV is doing okay. She was shaken up a little bit, but she is being questioned right now by authorities. She happened to be going home, her friend tells me, to check on her house. She was going through this intersection when all of a sudden her car was hit by that tan Explorer. We are being told off the record that Houston Police is the lead agency on this case. We have not heard from a spokesperson yet, and in fact, I don't see anyone out here. This is the kind of case that spokespersons usually do come out to the scene. We're going to try to figure out who that person is to try to get you more information, and once we do, we'll be sure to pass it along. For now, back to you guys in the studio.
Okay, thank you, Carla. Appreciate that reporting out of there. By the way, there were at least 5 bullet holes in the back seat window of that Chrysler, and then another 5 in the front passenger side. So we know that there were at least 10 bullet holes, 10 gunshots. Not knowing where they came from, however, we do know there were at least 3 officers shooting that direction.
All right, wow, still a lot coming out of this story. We'll be right back.
BP MS 150.
All right, thank you, Travis.
All right, we're going back out to Carla really quickly with new information on the suspect involved in that deadly police chase. Carla?
Yeah, just a little bit more information, guys. We've been out here for an hour now, and just a couple of seconds ago, a man walked up to us and told us he was the suspect's best friend. I want to point him out to you guys. He's talking to police officers right now. He came up to me with tears in his eyes, and he said he was talking to the suspect on the phone, and he didn't know what happened afterwards. I don't know if they were talking during the police chase, but he did have tears in his eyes, and he said that the suspect involved in this high-speed chase was his best friend. He decided to come out here to try to figure out what happened and to see how his friend is doing. Again, Houston police have not confirmed to us whether or not the suspect has died, but when we arrived on the scene about an hour ago, we witnessed it for ourselves. The suspect is on the ground. We're still trying to get some more information from you, trying to figure out exactly how all of this happened and if the suspect fired any shots back at police officers. From what we see from the vehicles over here, we know police officers were able to fire several shots, 5, 6, 7, perhaps more shots. You can see the bullet holes in the blue Chrysler that was involved in this high-speed chase. That Chrysler first hit that small white car and then rammed into the tan Ford Explorer that you see on the screen there. That tan Explorer then hit yet another car. We know the driver of that third car impacted in this police chase is doing okay. She's a little bit shaken up. She is talking to authorities right now. We're trying to find out how the drivers of those two cars are doing, and also trying to find out more information from police. Once we do that, we'll be sure to pass it along on ABC13.com and, of course, on our later newscasts throughout this afternoon. For now, reporting live in Northeast Houston, I'm Carla Badiena, 13 Eyewitness News.
Okay, thank you, Carla, for that report. We appreciate it. Again, pictures of the high-speed chase, a dramatic end, a tragic one, leaving the suspect dead, being shot by police officers. There it is, and there's how it happened. And we will certainly have much more on Eyewitness News at 4, 5, and 6.
And we do thank you for joining us for 11. We'll see you again at 4.
Okay, I don't have audio. Okay. So far, we've only seen one police car tailing this guy on the interstate, Erica. He's heading back toward the south with Snoopy in hot pursuit from up above. We've got the police helicopter from CMPD that's also trailing this guy. High speed, as you can see him passing cars left and right here on the 3-lane, 4-lane section of I-77 on the southbound side. He's got somebody tailing him now from South Carolina law enforcement, it looks like. Okay, he's running into 2 trucks. He's going to have a problem right here. Passing on the right side there on the entrance ramp. And law enforcement is making that move as well. I'm sorry, Blair, I didn't catch your last question. It is, yeah, this is still York County. I believe we passed exit 77 area. It's still heading south, heading down towards the Chester area now.
WLUK-TV, on your side. WLUK-TV News starts right now with breaking news. We're going to get you to that breaking news. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us for First at 4. I'm Jamie Bull.
I'm Brigida Mack. Turning into a busy Thursday. Want to take you right live to Sky 3, where we are over the scene of a police pursuit that is underway. This is happening on I-77 southbound at Rock Hill, South Carolina. We don't have a lot of details at this point. We do know that this started in Charlotte with Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police, and then once it moved into South Carolina, that's where the Highway Patrol took over.
We have been watching this right before we came on the air for several minutes, and as you can see, as this vehicle, this sedan, passes other vehicles, it is moving at a now high rate of speed, and this has been going on for several minutes. The call came in about 15 minutes ago. We put Sky 3 in the air to track this, but as Brigida mentioned, apparently this started with some sort of situation here in Mecklenburg County. Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police at least looking to stop this vehicle for some sort of infraction. We don't know what that is at this point. Again, it crossed the state line, and now Highway Patrol in South Carolina is on the case, but obviously traffic very heavy as we get closer and closer to the rush hour south of Charlotte into South Carolina, where this pursuit has again been going on for several minutes.
And you can see here, folks, you've been watching for the last few moments with us, this driver not afraid to go onto the right shoulder because I-77 at this point in South Carolina is just 2 lanes. So it is getting onto the right shoulder there to pass cars. Right now it seems to be staying in that right shoulder.
And if you know this area, you have 4 lanes of traffic as you go through Fort Mill into the Rock Hill area. As the vehicle now stops and the suspect gets out, and you can see police are right there. The man running off into the woods right now, Highway Patrol giving chase. Again, we don't know what this suspect was wanted for, but he has now abandoned that vehicle and run off. We believe this has just crossed into Chester County.
And the car still seems to be moving at a very slow rate of speed. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
You can see a third law enforcement vehicle has stopped. So potentially that car still in drive, and that highway patrolman or law enforcement official trying to get it stopped, and it sort of runs up the embankment there. But we want to go live to our Ron Lee, but we are waiting on him to get some information.
Yeah, he's in there working the phones. This is a breaking news situation. Just began to.
From Sky 3, you can see right now we have counted at least a dozen officers on scene, so they have this area locked down. They did bring in the canine units. As you see, that is a bloodhound, and his job is to track down the suspect wherever he may be. Now, the problem we have here is twofold. Is this guy armed? What kind of a danger does he present? That's the first one. The second one is the time difference in all this, when he stopped the vehicle and when he ran out. The longer this drags out, the further he could get away or find himself some little bunker to hide out in. So that's going to become a serious factor along with these officers. Now, you do see the canine unit walking back to the car right now. That may be an indication that the dog did lose the track, which is kind of surprising for a bloodhound, because they are top of the food chain, as it were, when it comes to scent dogs. But we're going to have to see. This also may have ended differently. Right now, we do not have any confirmation of that as of this point. However, we do have multiple crews out there on the scene fighting traffic, trying to get the latest information to you. We're going to keep working the phones right here. As I said, this is a team effort here at WB-TV. We have every single person in the newsroom working on this story, trying to find out the very latest, and we will bring that to you as soon as we get it.
All right, Ron, thank you. Once again, folks, you are seeing videotape of the moment. Just a few seconds ago, you saw the suspect jump out of that moving car, and then law enforcement officials take off into that tree line after him. You can see that silver car is still moving, slowly, but still moving. The suspect did not even put it into park as he stopped on the right shoulder and then jumped out. These now live pictures on the left side of your screen there. This could very well be the suspect in custody. He did have on a white shirt, and he presumably has his hands behind his back. Right. We just got confirmation this is the suspect. He is now in police custody. And you know, just a few moments ago, Jamie, in those live pictures, we saw the canine walking back. So either it meant that they lost the scent, or they got him. And this is live video here, folks, of the suspect sitting in that police car, hands behind his back.
Yeah, better of those scenarios there is that they got this guy. His car is stopped. Apparently no officers hurt, no one else hurt. That is the good news. But you can see him there sitting there. Doesn't look like he has shoes on or anything, does it?
I was just about to say, Jamie, is he barefoot?
I tell you what, in running through the woods like that, would have made it difficult to get away. As we were watching Sky 3 earlier, too, in the commercial breaks, it was sort of panning around. There's obviously thick woods in this area. It looked like also some little bodies of water as well. So obviously he was going to have a slow go if he was trying to get away barefooted through this area. But again, the good news here, to apparently have this chase suspect in custody, the breaking news that we've been following here since we went on the air at 4 o'clock.
And this started about, what, 10 till 4?
Yep.
So inside of an hour, this has been presumably resolved with that suspect in custody, which is good news because this could have very well ended differently. So the left side of your screen there, folks, live video feed of that suspect sitting in that law enforcement cruiser, and then on the right side of your screen, that is tape of that suspect's car still rolling, the stolen car, I should say, as he already took off into the tree line there.
They are putting him there into the front seat, and we'll see where he goes from here. If he faces charges initially in Chester County, in York County, will they bring him back into across the state line? That might take some court proceedings to do. We'll have to see how that all plays itself out. But out of all the scenarios that could have happened, first of all, you had a car going at a high rate of speed, some estimates over 90 miles per hour, weaving through traffic. That could have caused obviously some serious accidents on the highway for innocent folks. That, as best we can tell, did not happen. Then we had this vehicle pull off while it's still moving. It didn't go back into traffic. Thankfully, it went into the ditch where it came to a rest. No one hurt there. And then the chase began into the wooded area where, as best again we can tell, the suspect has been taken into custody with no one hurt.
And again, this all started, according to Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police, as reports of a stolen vehicle. CMPD officers spotted it, and actually Snoopy, that CMPD's helicopter, was following this chase until it left Mecklenburg County. And that is, of course, when York County and Highway Patrol took up the pursuit.
We don't see a lot of these in our area. In other parts of the country, it becomes almost daily fodder for some of the local newscasts. Los Angeles comes to mind, but we don't see these very often around here. And we happened to be there today just as we were coming on the air and seeing it all the way through, from pursuit to stop to chase again on foot to an arrest. So apparently we can, at least for the moment, button up this story.
Yes, we will continue to follow it as we learn more, the suspect's name, what sort of charges he will face, and where he will face them. Right now, though, let's get another check on your forecast with me.
All right, we are back with a breaking news alert. Sky 2 is in the process of following a police chase here. This is Old Boudreaux Road near Highway 249. I believe this is Northwest Harris County, perhaps out in the Tomball area. This guy's moving so fast that, you know, it's hard to keep up with him at this point.
Yeah, we don't know exactly what started this chase, but we do know that police are in pursuit right now. He is going very fast. Once again, we're watching this black car. That is the vehicle that police are chasing at this point. We have Sky 2 in the sky right now, basically trying to keep up with this driver who's going really fast right now.
Old Boudreaux Road, from what we can tell, near the 249 Tomball area. He's off the road now. And, of course, on a two-lane road like this, there aren't many options in terms of when you come upon a slow driver in front of you. Of course, he'll go against oncoming traffic whenever possible.
You see drivers pulling over and stopping there right now. Boy, that's the thing to do, because this guy seems like he's willing to kind of do anything at this point to get away from police. We saw several cars pull over and others just stop. If you have friends and family in that area who are traveling in that area right now, you may want to call and let them know that if they see this, or if they're right in that neighborhood, they may just want to stop, because we know this situation can turn deadly quickly.
Yeah, just came upon an intersection. We'll see if we can find out that exact location for you. Our producers back in the control room will be trying to take some cues from various signs and things, and we see if we can get a better read on this for you. But obviously, Northwest Harris County, this guy is not in the city proper with all these two-lane roads out there, and he's obviously looking for room to run, and the police are obviously behind him, not in this shot, but he is being pursued at this moment.
Those are some really close calls there as he was oh goodness, very close calls as he is traveling on the wrong side of the road right now, and those cars simply don't know that he's running from police and they need to get out of the way.
So Boudreaux Road at Grant Road was the last interchange that we had heard about, and he's coming upon a bend here, which is going to get dicey if he tries to go around. Slides out of control. He's off the road.
Yeah, looks like he may have turned over as well, and hit a car as well. Now it looks like that suspect's running on foot. The man right there in the green shirt doesn't know which way to go, because he probably realizes there are police all over the area, and also there's a chopper that's chasing him as well. It looks like police are on the ground as well. Yes, indeed, it looks like there are multiple police officers there going into that little wooded area chasing him, and he's now in custody. Police have the suspect in custody.
Yeah, it looks like he was coming around that bend, and he tried to go into the oncoming lane of traffic and saw an oncoming vehicle and swerved and lost control and ran that pickup truck off the road, too. And then, of course, we saw him try to escape, and he ran directly into a fence with nowhere to go. So when you turn around, you know who's behind you.
Right, 3 police officers there, 3 sheriff's department deputies there on the scene, 3 different vehicles, multiple deputies, though. They're taking that suspect into custody there again. The suspect in the green shirt, we saw him hit at least 1 vehicle. He may have clipped that other one, too, honestly. We know he hit at least 1 vehicle, which then caused him to spin. May have even kind of flipped on his side. I don't know for a second. We'll take a look at the car again when Chopper kind of zooms out, and we'll see what condition it's in. It was a black vehicle that they were chasing. It looked like a 4-door sedan type vehicle that they had been chasing. We picked up the chase and found out about it along 249 in Boudreaux, and then it went along Boudreaux and Grant, and that's where it kind of ended there. It looks to be more of a rural type area.
For sure, yeah. He rolled that car on its side and bailed out, and now they got him. So good work by the Harris County Sheriff's Department there, and lucky for the folks on the road there, he did not cause any injuries or deaths along this part of the chase. But of course, there's a whole backstory here that we need to uncover as to why this guy was running initially.
All right, and hopefully the driver of that other vehicle that he hit and the one that he may have clipped as well are okay. We'll have to keep a watch out throughout the day and get more details on this.
Yeah, I was trying to see back. There's that car, as you said. He definitely put it up on its side. And
looks like the bumper fell off as well in the process. So.
All right.
All right, we'll keep you updated right here on Local 2 throughout the day. In the meantime, a world-class resort.
Live, KHOU 11 News starts now.
And breaking now, a wild police chase in northwest Harris County where a suspect weaves through oncoming traffic, runs several vehicles off the road, and then crashes. We've got a live look from Air 11. This is where it all ended. This is going to be near Telge and Grant Road, northwest Harris County. Air 11 over the scene. You can see the suspect vehicle being hooked up to a tow truck to be taken away. Tiffany Craig is in the newsroom with the dramatic images of it all. Tiffany?
Yeah, Sharon Min, it started as a routine traffic stop, and then it turned into this high-speed chase that you've got to see. We don't know exactly how fast that black Chevy Malibu was going, but it was speeding past. There it is, backing up, and then it starts to take off, and it speeds past a bunch of other cars in this neighborhood. It started on Boudreaux, just off 249. Oh, and look at that. Slowing down, takes out a mailbox as it's being chased by Harris County Sheriff's deputies. That mailbox through the air. Several other close calls. That driver was taking tight turns, going too fast, putting a lot of other drivers at risk. And then you can see after about 20 minutes, he spins out, crashes, and then, of course, you can see he's running, can't get over that fence, continues running, and eventually is stopped and arrested by sheriff's deputies. We have a crew actually on the way out there to figure out exactly what was going on with this guy. There's his car. You can still see. Our crew will find out what's happening, and we'll have much more today on KHOU 11 News at 4 and also on our website at khou.com. Live in the newsroom, Tiffany Craig, KHOU 11 News.
All right, thank you, Tiffany. Boy, those were some crazy pictures. Now to weather, where it has been another chilly start to the day, but
Breaking news to bring to you. We have live coverage now of a high-speed chase going on, I believe it's the south side of town, I believe on 59 freeway. We'll get more details in a minute, but there is the vehicle, hot on the chase. On the run, they have a dozen police officers behind him, both Houston police officers as well as, I believe, county sheriff's deputies. Andy Bass, live in Sky Eye. Where is this located now, Andy?
He just exited off 59. I'm not too sure exactly what he exited off to. It could have been the belt. It could be the loop. I'm believing it is the belt itself. It looks like he's heading eastbound along the south belt right now. You could, as you just mentioned, several police officers in tow behind him. It is that minivan that is in the middle of your screen. He is now headed eastbound along the south belt. Get him back in the screen.
And Andy, we see this all the time. They continue to run, but yet most don't get too far, and then it usually comes to a quick end and sometimes a dangerous and an ugly end, which is sad and unfortunate. But they've been chasing this guy for around 15 minutes. Any idea as to why he is on the run?
we're still trying to figure that out. The news desk is trying to grab as much information. I know this has been going on for at least the last 10 to 15 minutes, as you just mentioned, Art. You know, starting off way down south along 288, and the belt itself is where we tried to intercept him. Got a little bit discombobulated to where exactly he was, but we did pick him up along 59 and the belt, and that's where he pretty much exited just right now, is on the eastbound side of the belt. Looks like he's actually slowed down a little bit, trying to get in a little tighter thing if there's anything wrong with his tires or not, but this side seems to be okay, but he definitely has slowed down quite a bit since we have joined the taste. You see
someone's going to jump there. Here we go.
Here we go, yeah.
Look at this, Andy. Someone's jumping. Whoa, off the edge. It's a long fall. Yeah, that's at least a 25-foot jump there, but both of them jumped. Now they are on the run and seemingly surviving that fall. Now running across the street. Let's see if the officers follow them at this point. I don't see any officers on hot pursuit right behind him, Andy. Do you see anyone?
Unfortunately, no, because they went over the overpass. They went right down onto the feeder road, so they're running across. They just ran across the feeder roads. They're now into a parking lot of a building. I'm just going to come back out a little bit more. You can see it's definitely on an industrial park area.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to hide from us and from everyone else. Now they're just hiding on the other side of this building in this little area.
Those lanes. Where that chase ended.
Right, and it appears there are two suspects that police are now looking for. You saw both of them just go on the side of that building there behind a fence into some of the trees that are there. The Sky 2 is zoomed out quite far, so it's hard to get our bearings on exactly where officers are at this time. But you can see that there is both of the suspects there right now.
Looks like they're trying to jump over that fence right there.
And this looks like it may be a commercial parking lot area, sort of an industrial area, not too far from a neighborhood.
And we believe we are in the Missouri City area. And that may have been the Beltway that we were, let's see if Sky 2
Yeah, hard to get a good shot of the suspects. We need them to zoom back. Okay, they've slowed down a bit. They're sitting down.
Looks like one
appear to be out of breath from running so fast, trying to get away from police. One suspect is laid face down on the ground. The other is just sitting there in an empty parking space.
Oh, it looks like an officer may be approaching.
Officer approaching with
caution. And so the other one is lying down on his back with his hands up.
There comes another police officer with his weapon drawn as well. It appears the suspects are following the commands given to them by the two officers who are there on the scene right now.
And so we were just told the chase ended at the Beltway and West Airport. So in Southwest Houston, looks like a third officer just joined.
But one
just joined the suspect.
That's right. They've got the suspect's hands behind his back so they can handcuff him. The other suspect's sitting there as well. In that parking space, the other officer trying to get the cuffs around him. You can see two more police officers, another two. So this is turning into quite a scene out there on the southwest side of Houston right now. We, of course, do have a crew on the way to the scene right now. We're going to certainly bring you more information as soon as we get it. Still trying to gather more details from the newsroom at this hour as well, trying to find out exactly what sparked this chase.
And how long it lasted, too. We know that it ended in Southwest Houston in Missouri City, and those lanes are still blocked on the Beltway in that area at West Airport. And so lots of congestion in that area, but right now police are not only on those lanes, but they are investigating that situation. Looks like both of the suspects in handcuffs.
Stopped by, I saw them slowing down, and all of a sudden that door just opened up and the two obviously jumped off of it. I'm not too exactly sure where that stopped at.
Go ahead and swing that camera around, Andy, and let's see if we can take a look at the Beltway. Again, this was the South Beltway headed eastbound. There you have the officers, there is the van. Clearly the doors are open. That edge right there, there's at least a 20-foot drop or so, but not sure whether they have anyone in custody, but perhaps they do, not sure.
Yeah, we're hearing that they do indeed have at least two other people inside that van in custody. You can see at this point they are at least blocking a couple of lanes of traffic as police surround that minivan, and no doubt got a long investigation ahead of them at this point. So it looks as though at least two lanes of the video. Well, and we do want to take a look at the end of this chase one more time. We saw the minivan, which reached speeds of up to 100 miles an hour, come to a stop. Two of the people inside that van jumping over the side of the freeway and then taking off on foot. Hard to believe that they could make that long jump and then get up and immediately start running.
That was a pretty hard fall for at least really that first guy. And you know what? Let's rack that up again and go ahead and take another look, because that's the drama of this whole scene.
Unfortunately,
of course, them driving 100 miles an hour is crazy enough, trying to elude police, but then taking that leap of faith over that edge. 20-foot drop there. And that guy first landing nearly on his bum first instead of his legs. But wow, here they are in custody from Sheriff's County deputies as well as HPD on the south side of town. It is at Gessner and South Beltway.
Beltway at
They
South
were headed
Gessner.
eastbound.
And actually, Andy, you know, you've covered a lot of car chases working with us over the years now. Not very often that we see a minivan as the escape vehicle of choice, is it?
And no, not too often that we see a minivan as the escape vehicle, especially with 4 males piling out of it. I remember that we did see 2 females a couple of years ago pile out of it, and that was a little interesting that we never see females. But yeah, a minivan full of guys, not usually what you see as someone running from the cops. We're still trying to figure out exactly why they were running from there. But you see those 2 in custody that take off from the belt and then run southbound and then get arrested here at this industrial park just off of Gessner, just a little bit east of Gessner.
Yeah. I think they thought they'd be able to hide out there at that industrial park, but their freedom was very short-lived, as we all saw. They ran around the side of the building and ran right into the arms of police officers there.
They did not get too far. Again, this is the Beltway, the South Beltway, headed eastbound. And go ahead and push in just a bit if you can, Andy, on that traffic that's beginning to gather there. A couple of lanes shut down as a result of the chase. You can clearly see several officers there, and then the backup beginning to accumulate there on headed eastbound, again on the East Beltway, or the South Beltway, that is, at Gessner Street. So what a backup there. But these guys did not get too far. They essentially jumped over the edge, ran across the field, and right there at the industrial park, being caught by police, who were able to get off.
And Andy, it was kind of hard to tell as we looked at that minivan whether or not perhaps their tires blew. I don't know if there were strips that were thrown out at any point, but it looked as though they almost slowed down because they were not able to go much faster as you pull in.
I know they tried to do strips earlier in the chase when we were trying to get to them. I was looking at the left side of the vehicle when we first joined the chase, and I saw all those tires intact, and looking at the right side, those tires are intact as well. So it doesn't look like there is any problem with that. They were maybe just slowing down because they realized they were not going to go much farther. A lot of police were behind them. They had 3 choppers up in the air over them, so they probably just figured they might as well just try to run away and sort of just trying to drive away.
Yeah, and as we look here, we're trying to determine whether or not there were other people in the back of that minivan, or if indeed what we're seeing are people in custody inside of one of those squad cars while they look through the minivan to figure out exactly what went down there today.
Not sure again why they were running. We have no idea at this point yet. Is that correct, Andy? Not sure if this
still don't know reason. Yeah, we still don't know the reason why they were running from the police initially, but you could see them going through the van, looking at it very carefully. I did see them look into the back of this vehicle right there and talk to one of them, so it looks like they at least have one other in custody here, maybe possibly 2. We're still trying to figure out if there were 4 people in that van or 3, but as you can see, the officers are just looking over the side to see how far they actually jumped.
Yeah.
They're probably just amazed as we are, how far they did.
And interestingly enough, we didn't see any officers follow them over the edge. I mean, that's a pretty good fall.
There's a TB.
Oh, wow.
TV,
okay.
yeah.
Well, we can assume one thing, at least, you know, to the degree of what they have been able to find in the van, perhaps they were being chased for an alleged robbery. We don't know that, but they're clearly taking out a big screen there.
Yeah, not usually what you see in the back of a minivan, is it?
They got some other belongings there they've been able to collect as well. You can see all sorts of, well, those look like women's bags.
Yeah.
Push in on those. Push in on those. That looks like you're probably as far as you can go there, but that looks like some high-end bags there that they've been able to collect. Well, looks like they found quite a
something.
Yeah.
Well, and Andy, this is a complete aside, but I will mention it. It's interesting that nowadays we see more SUVs and more trucks as part of the police officer's arsenal, as opposed to just simply squad cars.
Yeah, that is correct. I believe that the Crown Victoria vehicle that's coming in your screen is no longer being made by Ford, and that's why they all went to the SUVs and the later models. You do see some of the vehicles still in the old style, but a lot of them have gone to SUVs, especially the constables, the Pearland Police. Sheriff's Office, I believe, are still in the Crown Victorias, but for most of them are using the SUVs now.
Yeah, probably a little bit more speed there as they get involved in these high-speed chases.
A little bit more power as well. Wow, what they've been able to bring out of that van there, pretty amazing. You know, big screen, flat screen TVs, Gucci bags, and
well, we don't know if
we
they're
don't know if they're Gucci, but
we do know they are bags. That is for sure.
We do know that they're high-end bags. Are we able to rack up that video once again when those two took that jump over the edge? Because that was a lot of drama here involved. That vehicle, that's when it slows down, and you can see the guys here. Whoa, there they go, one right on the side. Lucky that he did not break an ankle or something.
Yeah, I was going to think,
with that kind of fall. But there they go, clearly running across the street into that open field, into that industrial area, trying to elude police, trying to hide from them. But then the officers were able to quickly maneuver themselves into that area and then capture them right on the other side of that building. They run down this alleyway, and then they run back. And then they run into that field.
Up, but then they end up trying to hide behind those hedges for a moment and get over to the other side.
Yeah, they don't know where to go. Wow.
Yeah, why don't we go back right now to Andy Bass, who is live over the Beltway there at South Gessner, where they continue to search through the minivan that these guys were in. And we've at least seen one large screen TV, and I do mean big screen, coming out, and what appears to be a lot of women's handbags. You can see as well the backup, because as we've been telling you, at least a couple of lanes have been taken over by police officers as they continue to do the investigation, which means that people are having some difficulty getting around them. But we're looking at both the feeder road now, near where that industrial park is, and as Andy continues to pull out, you can see the Beltway, and you can see just how slow the traffic is moving at this point.
Andy, have you been able to, at least from your perspective, see anything interesting happening over there where they were able to capture the two guys on the run?
For the most part, everything is status quo, Art. You can see that one lane on the northbound side of Gessner, along with that median, is shut down right now. All the activity is still in the parking lot of this complex right here. You can still see one of them is still sitting on the ground. Not too sure if he got injured. They might have gotten injured in the fall, and they're probably waiting for an ambulance or an EMS unit to come on scene and check them out. You don't know what happened there, but they're definitely not moving them from this area. This is where they laid down and gave up, and that's pretty much where it stands on the Gessner aspect of it. Going back to the belt, let me pan back out and showed you this is still going on. You can see how many units are still on scene, going through that to see how much there is. A lot of paperwork's going to have to be done here. 3 lanes are still blocked off on the eastbound side of the south belt, just a little bit past Gessner. So if you normally take Gessner to the belt, you might want to just find a different alternate until they get this cleaned up and moved out of the way, but it looks like it's going to be here out a while.
Yeah, and we're certainly curious to see whether or not there are going to be other interesting articles coming out of that minivan.
Here's another guy right now.
Oh, now
guys.
We do see, one of the other guys in custody.
Yeah, here's another one that was just brought into custody. So there's at least 3. I believe they were talking to the guy on the back of it. This might have been the guy out of that SUV right there at the left side of your screen that they were talking to when we were showing you it earlier. So at least 3 people have been arrested here so far. Still trying to confirm if there was a 4th one or not.
Okay, now we can clearly see as well that, and we've been saying HPD, but you know what? We clearly see that the Pearland Police is actually involved in this. So we see constables, officers there as well. I believe that's an HPD vehicle. So we have several agencies involved. I counted at least a dozen law enforcement vehicles at this scene, and then over there where the other 2 were apprehended, there were at least a dozen more vehicles. So we have a couple of dozen vehicles, law enforcement vehicles involved from Pearland Police, HPD, and the constable's office. And it all began in Pearland, where we understand these guys, at least according to information which we just received, were visiting the home of someone, asking for information about someone or trying to visit the home of someone. They weren't there. It was a suspicious call that started this. When police arrived, these guys immediately just fled and didn't stop. And now, as a result, we see here that they pulled out a flat-screen TV, several likely designer bags, and but they have been nabbed, at least 4 of them, we understand. Now, we see 1 here at this scene, 2 at the other scene. We have not seen a 3rd one here, or a 4th one here, I should say, but we do know that there may have been at least 2 here at this scene.
Yeah, and what we do know is that these young men, and we're assuming they are all young men, appeared at a home in Pearland and asked for someone who did not live there, asked for a strange name. And perhaps the homeowner or one of the neighbors got suspicious and contacted police.
Right.
And that's when this chase began. At one point, going at speeds of well over 100 miles an hour. And as we've been talking to Andy Bass up in Sky Eye, we sort of review many of the car chases we've seen over the years, and rarely do we see a minivan moving at that speed. But perhaps in the end, it just simply was not fast enough to outrun the police as we saw them jumping over the side.
Yeah, eventually giving up right there. Again, this is the Beltway at South Gessner Street, all coming to a dramatic close. We're going to have much more on ABC13.com, much more later in this newscast as well, because we have a crew on the way. And we'll get back to it momentarily, but for now, let's go ahead and take a commercial break, and we'll be back with more news later.
ABC 13 Eyewitness News at 4 starts now.
Now on the news at 4, a dramatic police chase. You saw it all live here on Eyewitness News. 2 suspected burglars right there jumped from an overpass trying to get away. We also have
an update now after a dramatic police chase. You saw it unfold right here live on Eyewitness News at 11 a.m. Suspected burglars on the run from the cops, and did you see it? They jumped off of that overpass and then tried to run away, but they were caught. Eyewitness News reporter Angela Chen live now in Southwest Houston, where police busted the guys, and she joins us now live. Angela?
Hi, well, one of the most compelling parts of this chase was when the suspects stopped their car and jumped off the freeway. Imagine that fall. Now, I'm a little over 5 feet here, and if you take that and compare it to the height of this wall, that's about 20 feet you're looking at. Imagine that. It had to hurt when they landed. Now, let's take a look at that video here. This is the leap we're talking about off West Beltway 8 around the Airport Boulevard exit that 2 suspects made this morning around 11. You can see them sprinting across the street to the Crown Mark Furniture Distribution Center. Now, when we arrived on the scene, police had already arrested one of the suspects, but the other was unconscious and had to be transported by ambulance. At least one other suspect who stayed with the car was also arrested. We talked with a security guard who says he encountered the 2 suspects while they were trying to escape by entering the distribution center.
But when they went into my building, I noticed a frantic on them, and I noticed helicopters. I asked them what did they need, and they turned around and ran. And I went outside after them. I told them, what can I help you with? And he said, go, go, go. And that's when I noticed all the commotion.
Pearland police say this highway chase began when they got calls about a suspicious person on Nahas Court. The suspects apparently went up to a house and asked for a person who didn't live there. The homeowner didn't feel comfortable and called the police, and when officers arrived, the suspects took off, leading to the chase you saw earlier. Now, police were able to confiscate a large screen TV and several purses from the suspect's car. We will have that video for you at 5. For now, live in Southwest Houston, Angela Chen, 13 Eyewitness News.
What a story, Angela. Thank you so much. Very dramatic images. Now, I am live over here at the Smartboard because this story really blew up on social media and on our ABC 13 Facebook page. Viewers like you having all kinds of things to say and leaving all kinds of comments. We posted the story and showed you the video. Joseph says, talk about a leap of faith. Julie says, A for effort, F for decision making. A very good point. Derek saying that happened right in front of my work. It was crazy here. Some of the eyewitnesses also posting on our Facebook page. And then Dawn making a great point. Good job, officers. Thank you for all that you do. You might want to go onto the Facebook page and join the conversation. A lot of comments I decided not to read live on the air, but there's certainly some entertaining ones. We'll just put it that way, Eric.
some colorful comments, Alona. Yes. Thanks a lot. Okay, with the new year
All right, yet another high-speed chase in the San Fernando Valley this morning. Ed Lascos is here with a play-by-play on that one. Ed.
Yeah, this one is as wild as it gets, and even when it is all over, the suspect here, look at him, they have him surrounded, but they got to pull him out of his black SUV. He's not going down without a fight, but wait until you see what happens before that dramatic takedown. It all plays out just after the morning rush through the San Fernando Valley and all at dangerously high speeds. Ray, play.
So look at that, across lanes there. Wow, 70 miles an hour, easy there.
Skyfox even having a hard time here keeping up with this speeding SUV. That's all it all began, you know, the SUV weaving, speeding. CHP spots him, lights him up, and then he floors it off the freeway, but not off the gas. Look at this, driving on the wrong side of the road. This surface streets in the valley, almost head on there, across lanes. Look out, it's one dangerous turn after another with this one. And then this, he's clocked here at about 80 miles an hour plus, nearly T-bones a car to the right. A red car is going to pull out at one of these intersections. How dangerous is it? Look at that. My goodness, just missed it, huh? Now on the freeway, the 101, traffic is tight, so he's going to hug over to the far right lane. I'm told here he's running about 100 miles an hour plus. Traffic's going to get tighter ahead. You can't see it, so he's got to make a decision. He's on the shoulder. What is he going to do? He's going to get off the freeway, takes this ramp here in Encino. At the bottom of the ramp, makes that left under the overpass, and this is where it all ends, in a crash. Listen to an eyewitness.
I heard a screeching noise from the left. Guy came up off the sidewalk, tried to dart between me and another car, caught the front of my car and either blew out both tires or something, but he came to a stop right there.
Came to a stop right there, right here. The chase, but not the surrender. He just won't give it up. CHP, LAPD finally saying enough already. They open the door, grab this guy, haul this guy down. Look at this shirt and all, right down to the ground. He's still fighting back. Finally, they get him under control. He is cuffed, he is stuffed, and there he is. The look on his face says it all. 40 years old, and his run of freedom is now over. As law enforcers, they get their man. We now know this guy is from Santa Clarita, why he was running and why he was fighting so hard to get away. He's a wanted man. Wanted on not one but two outstanding warrants, including assault with a deadly weapon and Jeff Christine. This one playing out, it's just so dangerous. Miraculously, no one hurt through all of this chase for well over half an hour.
Well, that's good news.
You bet.
Ed, thanks.
Out here once again, I'm looking out the window, and we're making another turn here, and I believe we're going westbound again. And you can see a smaller, look at that, just squeaking by out there once again. CHP right behind this guy. His speeds have slowed down, though, which is very, very good for anybody involved out here. But every time he goes through those intersections, you can see that van bouncing around, and that's the dangerous part, too. It's not very good with maneuverability, especially when he hits those big bumps. You know, if he had to turn or swerve, that could have created quite a crash if there was a civilian in the area. Watch him go over that other one right there. One CHP unit is still in pursuit out here. One helicopter overhead. I believe it's the sheriff's ship is working with them. They want this guy stopped. California Highway Patrol is the lead vehicle behind it right now. Sheriff's Department is the one that's supplying the light right now. We were on 80th right there, as I was just being told by, and now we just back onto Avalon. He just made a south turn. But again, you can see these speeds a little bit more calm. You know, maybe if he was under some influence of something. Another solid red coming up here. I'm going to go a little bit wider just in case there's something going on. But again, just blowing right through. That was a green for him right there. But again, now he's really starting to pick up speed again as he's southbound to Avalon, heading back towards the area where he started. Again, I believe this is still, we're going to be on the border of the Sheriff's Department, but we're still in LAPD's area. And again, you have CHP chasing him and the sheriff's ship overhead talking to him. You know what? You got me. I've been trying to listen in. I kind of wanted to know why they traded off like that. You know, there are some unincorporated areas. When we were on, you know how Manchester, when Florence turns into Firestone, that area is unincorporated, and the CHP actually patrol that area out there. So maybe that's the reason why they picked it up, and the sheriff's ship is working with them. And we just made an eastbound turn we're on 87th from Avalon, and you can see something right there just happened. Maybe he just locked up the brakes or something, but we saw some smoke. Again, other vehicles on the street out there, not expecting this guy running a stop sign and just pulling into their oncoming traffic. So again, you see what they're dealing with out here this evening. You can see a lot of officers out here as well, looking at this pursuit, watching what's going on out here. Again, though, right now they're just assisting as they're trying to get this van to stop before something really bad happens. Copy. No, we don't have anything. Looking on the driving on the sidewalks again, just making those crazy turns. And again, CHP is still behind him out there. It is a good question. What's in that vehicle? How long has he had it? All these questions will be answered when this does come to an end. And you can see it would be eastbound on Manchester, passing another vehicle there on the far side. His speed's really picking up again, once again out here. And the helicopter still below us down there, Sheriff's Department. I'm looking out the window right now. A couple of other units are starting to join the CHP unit. I don't know if it's backup for the CHP, but this guy definitely moving out pretty quickly now as we're working our way eastbound once again. And again, driving these high speeds, a lot of traffic out here, and you're right, Ken. He's making big turns, obviously pretty familiar with this area. Again, locking him up here a little bit. You see those brake lights are on, people trying to get out of his way. And again, CHP has the solid red and a little bit fishtailed right there. I believe that was Avalon that we just passed. And again, you can see him now all of a sudden. The streets are empty. He's slowing down a little bit. You got a lot of traffic up there. 2 CHP units behind him, but it looks like these guys are starting to clear out of the way as he's making deciding to make a left turn here. He's going against traffic once again and making a northbound turn. And look at these high speeds. This is very, very dangerous stuff. Well, the LAPD is definitely out there in force. We see them every now and then in the shots. They are basically monitoring this right now. They are not involved in this pursuit. They are keeping the other vehicles as much as they can away from where he's going. Obviously, it's a pursuit. You can't tell everybody to stay in their homes. They don't have that ability to. And again, look, here's making another big turn. He seems to make a big wide turn, and you can see people outside right now. Looks like he's got he's got to squeeze through there. There's a lot of activity, and it looks like he's choosing. Oh, what's going on here? Looks like he's going to try to he's picking an alley. He's taking an alleyway out here. And again, you can see this vehicle really starting to move out. The officers from the CHP, it looks like they're not right behind him right now as well. But the helicopter's still overhead, and it looks like he's making his way. Whoop, 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 and again, just making these big, crazy turns. It's like he's almost looking for the officers. Like, where did these guys go? Yeah, making that crazy three-point turn out here. You can see that light right there. That's not being supplied by us. That's being supplied by the sheriff's helicopter. And again, he's working his way along one of these smaller side streets out here. Speeds have slowed down. And at one point, that's what they did. They basically just kind of let this guy go. So he had the opportunity to ditch the vehicle, get out, and just walk away. But this guy chose to stay in this vehicle, and it looks like he's taunting officers still, and it almost looks like he's looking for another officer to chase him. Very bizarre activity. Again, we don't know what this guy, if he is on something. Obviously, it is a stolen vehicle. And I believe we're on Lincoln right now, southbound Lincoln near Manchester. And again, you can see him slowing down a little bit. Maybe this is his neighborhood. Maybe this is where it's going to come to an end. All lights are off on the vehicle. You see the brake lights coming on every now and then. But again, you see people out there with their cell phones taking video as this guy is passing in these residential neighborhoods down here in South Los Angeles. There are no vehicles behind him, and Susie, nobody is behind him anymore at all. The sheriff's ship is overhead. They are lighting this guy up, and again, it looks very bizarre stuff out here. Looks like he's pulling up. He's taunting or talking to possible friends of his, and again, that southbound Avalon is where is making another big U-turn here. And again, you know, a lot of people out here, unsure if they know this guy or if it's just convenience. But again, there's a CHP, not in pursuit though. I mean, I don't want to lose the van there, but you can see they are following this guy for sure. Another officer right there making a turn, going, basically keeping away from this guy. They're trying to give this guy his space. Hopefully he will slow down one more time, and this time he will decide to jump out of that vehicle and maybe abandon that vehicle, bringing this pursuit to an end. And, you know, hopefully, you know, nobody gets hurt, but definitely he is more of a danger to other people than he is to himself right now. Could be something, and you know, I just started to realize something right here is, you know, we never heard them talk about how many people are inside that vehicle. When he made that turn right there, might have just been a reflection, I'm not really sure, but there could be somebody in the passenger seat right now. It looks to be not a passenger van, but more of a cargo type of van, so unclear if there's anybody else in that vehicle or just the driver himself. Again, though, he seems to be driving a little bit slower now. You can see the traffic out there, he's not passing them. But again, we're just working our way. Another red light coming up here. He is stepping on his brakes. It looks like he's going to try to make a right turn. I'll get you the name of that street. But again, just out here right now, making that turn, working his way north, making another big U-turn out there in the middle of the intersection. Again, cutting people off. You know, taunting officers is basically what it looks like. And there, it definitely is somebody in the passenger seat talking to or looking at, making contact with other people. There's CHP right there. He slowed down again when he saw those officers. Those are a lot of CHP officers right there. They must have been in the area, unsure if they've been told not to engage in that pursuit. But again, you don't see them making a U-turn. Yes, definitely. He's working these alleys out here. He seems to know this neighborhood pretty well. He was on Central out there, 78th Street, and it looks like he really is just pulling up to people out there and you know, taunting them or talking to them, or gosh only knows. You know, there are definitely two people inside that vehicle. You saw those guys right there at the corner, and it looks like that was his thing. He's just making a big turn there. Again, taunting officers out there. You see a crowd of people, see 3 CHP officers down there, and basically these guys are just going to go ahead and basically just set up a perimeter just in case he gets out. I understand that we're on 79th Street right now from Central, and again, look, he's driving really slow out here. He's got another person there at a corner, and he slows down. You know, I'm sure if he's making communications, talking to these guys or something, but he's definitely enjoying his 15 minutes of fame. Hopefully he won't injure anybody, he won't injure himself, and again, officers are still in the area. They're going to catch this guy. They're going to bring it to an end. As you see more people down there driving very slow through intersections, basically trying to get as much fame as he can, as the helicopter still following him. CHP in the neighborhood, not in pursuit, in the neighborhood right now, basically keeping blocks in case this does come to an end, so they are in position to capture this guy when he exits that vehicle. You're so correct, and you can see how narrow these streets are out here. We're southbound Stanford, definitely one of the smaller streets out here in the South Los Angeles area. You know, these are the smaller neighborhoods. You got a lot of people out here. You see a lot of cars. Look, you know, I thought there was a person right there. Sorry about that. Driving through these stop signs, and again, a lot of trees out here, a lot of obstructions. You know, if you're not stopping for that stop sign, you know, somebody else could be coming through the other way. Very, very dangerous. And you're just past 84th Street as we're working our way southbound Stanford, driving extremely slow again right now, driving slower. We're coming up on another major intersection right here, and again, the helicopter still following him out there. Even the helicopter has been using his light a little bit less and less, maybe trying to make his presence less known. You can see another officer right there. I believe that's from the 77th Division. And again, eastbound Manchester, but driving very slow. He's taunting these officers. Officers are using a lot of self-control out here. Their supervisors are saying, no, we're not going to chase this guy. You see another two officers right there on the street. I believe that's CHP. They're the ones that are still technically following this guy. They're going to be staying in the area just in case this does come to an end. Hopefully it'll come to an end peacefully. But again, the CHP are following this guy. LAPD is definitely monitoring the situation, and the sheriffship is basically following right now. More people on the street down there waving their hands at this guy as he's continuing to make these large blocks out here, driving through a lot of the smaller neighborhoods, now driving extremely slow. We got another red light coming up here on a major, and again, unclear, you know, why he's doing this. Maybe it is just for this couple minutes of fame, getting out onto this another major intersection. Almost looked like he was going to make one of those crazy U-turns, but it decided to just keep on going straight. Very slow moving right now. Maybe this is coming to an end. I do see a couple of units behind him, and I guess once he gets back into that unincorporated area, maybe CHP will pick this up again. You can see those two units right there behind him, basically in trail. Not using their lights. They had their lights on, but that was just so that they could warn other vehicles that they were going through that intersection. Again, now he's making a turn, I believe, to the south, going into a parking lot out here. You know, this is very dangerous, too. This could be where it comes to an end. But, you know, it seems like he knows these little niche areas. He found another alleyway back there, working his way through that alleyway. So definitely very familiar with this neighborhood. He hasn't made any bad decisions. Every turn that he's made, he's had a way out. You can see him working his way back out right now. Again, CHP right behind him. This would be a good place to pit him. Again, unclear what their ideas are right now. That sheriffship just flying through the shot, getting back onto another major. That all-white vehicle right there that he almost collided with is another CHP vehicle. You see all these officers in the area. Everybody just kind of just trying to keep their distance just far enough to keep this guy at bay. But definitely driving a little bit slower. We're back on Manchester. We're working our way westbound. I can see a lot of traffic up ahead. I believe that the officers are slowing the traffic out there, basically kind of warning them that this guy's coming back through this area. But again, moving very slowly out here. We're westbound Manchester. You can see a number of CHP officers, but probably when he gets back into the LAPD area, those officers are going to basically back off and go back into tracking mode. Yes, it did. Well, they just pitted him. They did make contact with the vehicle. They definitely bumped that rear end. That would have brought this to an end right there. Got a red light coming up, and again, this vehicle, after that pit maneuver, got a little agitated. You can see his speeds are picking up a little bit. I'm unclear if there was any damage to the back of the vehicle, but it really shows you that CHP has been cleared to bring this to an end, and it seems like that's what they're planning on doing out here. He's working his way back into that small residential neighborhood. We were on Manchester. We're working our way westbound again, one residential north of Manchester. Very crowded streets out here, and I'm going to go a little bit wider right now. You can see all those officers down there, and you can see other officers. 85th Street, as we can see, and the officers right there as well. So CHP definitely really in force right now. They've got all their ducks in a row. They want to bring this to an end. They're not going to pit them in this type of environment right here with all these smaller vehicles in the area. They don't want any kind of damage. They don't want to injure anybody that could be out right now. But when he works his way back out onto a major street, we might see that maneuver once again. It doesn't seem to create any damage to the back of the vehicle. That's what I was kind of curious, because he did seem to hit the rear wheel. We were hopeful that maybe he took out that wheel and that would bring this to an end. But again, he's still moving along out here a little bit slower, coming up on another major. You can see people backing up out there trying to get out of the way. Again, this started about a little more than an hour ago. Originally wanted for stolen vehicle, and then the crazy high speeds. This guy was driving at 80 to 100 miles an hour on surface streets. Sheriff's Department decided, we're not going to deal with this. We're going to back off. We're going to go into tracking mode, and the helicopter stayed overhead. Just the sheriff's helicopter, keeping an eye on that one officer right there. And, you know, and what, oh, sorry, go ahead. Every intersection that we come to, a lot of these major intersections and even some of these residential areas, there are people outside. Unclear if they see the helicopter or perhaps they're watching the newscast, but we do see a lot of people outside cheering him on. We know there's two people inside that vehicle. Look at, here we go, another major U-turn. That would have been a spot. Now he's going against traffic. Another extremely dangerous move right there, going into an alleyway again. And this is something we've been seeing a lot of this evening. He definitely seems to know this area. He works his way into these alleyways and little, you know, niche type of things where he knows his way behind other stores and stuff. You can see another one right there, working his way around. He knows, look at it, got a pedestrian right there. And back, I think we're back on Manchester. Look at that, picking up high speeds right there. And just really moving out. We know that we have one of our ground crews down there as well. We saw that truck in one of the shots, but again, here he is now. He's really starting to pick up speed again. CHP wants us to stop. You know, they have got two people inside that vehicle. He has a passenger and himself, and again, stolen vehicle, reckless driving. So far, nobody's been hurt using this. I just saw him use the spike strips out there. They threw the spike strips. You know, I saw the darker uniform. That tells me that that was going to be LAPD. So LAPD still in the game out here, still basically keeping up with the CHP and the Sheriff's Department as he's been basically touching all these divisions. There's an LAPD officer right there, and it does seem like this is where it's going to come to an end. An LAPD officer actually moving out of his way to let this guy go. He definitely has two flat tires. I can see the fronts are definitely flat. And up on the sidewalk again, he has a rear flat as well, so he might be on all fours. Here we go, here we go, here we go. That's going to bring it to an end. Look at that pit maneuver. Perfect pit. Perfect pit, CHP, and this guy still trying to keep going out here. He lost one of his tires altogether. Looks like something is pouring out of the back of the van right there. I'm hoping that's not gasoline. Maybe it's some type of fluid from inside the vehicle. Again, could create a very dangerous situation with sparks from those wheels. But again, you can see how squirrely this vehicle is now with no tires, picking up higher speeds. Oh, there we go. That's the end of that. This vehicle coming to a stop, and he's still trying to keep going. I'm pretty sure what he was doing right there was just locking up the brakes, but it does seem like this vehicle is starting to really start to give out. Still trying to keep this car going out here, making a turn onto a residential neighborhood. CHP right behind him out here. Again, even in this kind of situation, he is going to try to stay his distance and not pit this guy. But you can see a lot of smoke coming out of the back of that vehicle. This is eastbound 91st Street from Avalon. You can see this vehicle right now, still keeping CHP behind him. But again, this very much impaired. This car very dangerous right now. Again, you know, this is where the trouble's really going to start, going through another intersection out there. CHP behind him. That vehicle has at least, but they're, you know, it's so tight quarters. We're on Wadsworth, and again, it's very tight quarters. They don't want to create any kind of problem. They don't actually. You know, you got to understand, they don't even want to injure that guy, even though he's a suspect. So again, you. Here he goes, here he goes, here he goes. Oh. Get him, get him, get him. Here he goes, here he goes, here he goes. Yeah, he's definitely riding on rims right. Yeah, it is, and you know, you know, he has one tire. We saw one solid tire on the back out there. So, oh! He hit a dog. He hit a. He just hit a little white dog out there. You know, very much an animal lover. I'm sorry, I did. But again, you know, he's still in pursuit. I got to keep focus here. Still in pursuit out here. You see this vehicle, you know, CHP behind him. He's slowing down a little bit. You got a tow truck out there. He's definitely going to need that when that vehicle is going to need that when this comes to an end. Again, cutting off another vehicle and working his way out onto another major street out here. You can see the crowds of people, and again, working his way against traffic. He's making these blocks out here. You can see the number of CHP officers. It looks like they're going to try to pin him again as he's going to make as this one car keeps coming up behind him there. You know, we didn't see that vehicle stop. Sometimes when they do those heavy pit maneuvers, the guy will stop the vehicle. Here he goes, here he goes. Another spit right there. Look at the sparks. Losing control and trying to save it. Boom. Okay, there we go. Got a little collision there. Officers are going to basically block him in. This is going to be coming to an end right now. You got somebody in the passenger side, got his hands up, moving around a little bit. Officers have their guns out. Manchester and Wadsworth, the door's opening. Sorry, we can't swing around right now. There they go. There comes the passenger. Door is open. The vehicle's still in drive. Again, this guy just getting out of the vehicle has got his hands out. Seems to be a female passenger. She's just basically jumping out of the vehicle, laying down right now. It looks like they're going to be bringing this to an end as they're taking this guy into custody. Again, you know, I know it sounds almost silly, but I hope that dog is okay. I'm more concerned about that than these guys. But again, this coming to an end out here. We're on Manchester near the cross of Wadsworth. Officers going to check out the back of the vehicle. They're taking that driver into custody. The females are going to be the second one they're taking into custody. All this started as a stolen vehicle this evening. Very crazy pursuit out here in the South Los Angeles area.
being tried by police. That truck is heavier than the usual cars we see that's done to.
Absolutely,
Makes it
that's
more
exactly
difficult.
right. And it does look like he's getting back on the 5 freeway here, guys. It looks like it's going to be on the southbound side of the 5. We're now in Pacoima. We came out of Arleta. LAPD is following this from the air as well. There's an LAPD airship up southbound side of the 5 freeway, now approaching the 170 in the far right lane. And initially, just prior to us picking up the pursuit, Steve, we did hear that he was traveling at a very high rate of speed and very dangerously on the northbound side of the 5. Why he chose to exit at Terabella and make his way into Arleta and then back onto the 5, we don't know. Sometimes these guys are familiar with these neighborhoods. When they're in a familiar neighborhood, they feel that they might be able to evade police. We don't know that at this time. But again, recapping the situation here, this is a 2005 white Ford utility truck, and the suspect being described as a male Hispanic, armed, and he's an assault with a deadly weapon suspect at this time. And unclear if he, how many people he injured, where that incident took place. All we know is that the Los Angeles Police Department has caught up with him, and they are chasing him now down Interstate 5.
Hey, Rick, it's Marla here. Any indication that the utility truck is a stolen vehicle, given that it is a utility truck?
At this time, we're not hearing that, but that's a very good point, Marla. There is a possibility of that, but as of right now, we're not getting that information from our desk. We're tracking this on our scanners up here as well, trying to get more information. And at times, we will hear some vital information just like that from officers. They've obviously run plates. If the plates came back to the suspect, then they know more about him. If it's stolen, they don't know. Again, we don't know exactly how this happened. If there was a situation, that assault took place, and then he was able to find his way into this vehicle, that's a possibility as well. Traveling southbound on the 5, that was a split with a 170 in Sun Valley. Continuing on the southbound side of the 5, and he'll be winding his way down Interstate 5, down towards Burbank, down towards Burbank Bob Hope Airport here. Now traveling at a higher rate of speed. Looks like he's going about 75, 80 miles an hour on a wide open Interstate 5 here in the valley.
So at the, you're saying he passed the 170, so he's not making the run to the 170, to the 101, he's staying on the 5. Is that correct?
That's exactly right, Steve. So his next option, if he does want to stay on the freeways, would be the 134. He could split east or west on the 134. If you head in a westbound direction, he's going to head past the zoo, the backside of the zoo, then into Toluca Lake and Studio City. Whoa, look at that, high speed exiting the freeway again, trying to evade police. Tight off-ramp here as well. And these officers have already been aggressive in trying that pit maneuver and were unsuccessful, but it was challenging in that street there. These officers train for it. We see them do it right here in the San Fernando Valley, but as you mentioned, Steve, as he goes across the barrier, the island there, against opposing traffic, this is where it gets really dangerous. And now he's making his way on the right side of traffic at least. Very dangerous situation here. Once again, a good reminder to everybody, if you happen upon a pursuit like this, you see this going on, do not try to be a hero. Do not try to intervene. Entering the 5 freeway back northbound, again, by the way, just stand back. If you hear the lights and siren, stand back, pull up to the side, give the officers all the space that they can use.
You know, one of the problems here is that when he goes back on the 5, for instance, nobody on the 5 has a clue as to what's going on.
That's exactly right, right here, as you can see. And, well, why not just a little bit for a moment, because I want to show you how many officers are trailing this suspect. 1, 2, 3, 4 patrol cars trailing this utility truck that has now been pursued for a good 35, going on 40 minutes now. Now heading back northbound on the 5. You saw him exit the freeway here in Sun Valley, wrap right back to the north. Again, why he's going back north? Does he want to get back to a neighborhood he's familiar with? We don't know, because we don't know where this guy's coming from. A lot of the times it's just an erratic move to try to evade officers, and it was unsuccessful there. Officers still tracking him on the ground with those patrol units and in the air with an LAPD airship. Making his way northbound on the 5 now, and as you see, we'll widen out a little bit, you're going to see that merge now again with the 5 and the 170 in the north end of Sun Valley. He'll be heading northbound and continuing up back to where he came from, where we picked up the pursuit in Arleta and Pacoima.
And of course, LAPD no stranger to situations like this, especially given the pursuit that they dealt with earlier this week. Just a couple of days ago, Rick, with, you remember, the chase that everyone's talking about still, and that.
Yeah, a little over 30 minutes ago, that's what we're hearing. They first picked it up on the scanner in the valley here. The mission station of the LAPD picked this up We're unclear on how this happened. It could have been a simple traffic violation, and they ran the plates and found that the individual connected to this automobile, this utility truck, is wanted for an assault with a deadly weapon. Or there may have been a situation that occurred just prior to the pursuit that led to this chase. And this chase now is on Interstate 5, traveling northbound. He's going about the speed of traffic now, about 65 miles an hour. I'm counting several patrol cars still behind him. I'm also seeing officers up ahead. A lot of times what officers will do is they'll do some planning to position officers ahead to control traffic, to back traffic off. If they can clear the freeway, get that open spot again, they can try that pit maneuver again, try to spin this guy out and bring this pursuit to an end. That's exactly right. Laurel Canyon alongside the 5 here, Steve, traveling northbound on the 5. The next freeway will be the 118. So about 2/3 the way up from the 5 and the 170 and the 118 freeway. And yes, he is exiting here, and the exit point here appears to be Van Nuys Boulevard. Exiting at Van Nuys Boulevard here, and we are now right on the border of Arleta and Mission Hills, coming back underneath the 5, so he's heading westbound on Van Nuys Boulevard here, and he's going to be heading back to that same neighborhood where we first picked this pursuit up in Arleta. That's exactly right, Marley, and he is traveling southbound here, coming off of Van Nuys Boulevard back into a residential area, and that's a good point in this neighborhood especially because you have narrow streets, you have more pedestrians, it's the middle of the day, it's the noon hour. Some of the younger kids get out of school at noon or in preschool and kindergarten, so you might have some of that foot traffic as well, but it seems like he really is being a little more cautious now, slowing down at that intersection, wrapping his way back in this same neighborhood. We are very close to where we picked this pursuit up, so there is a possibility, like I said, that he may be familiar with us. He may know somebody in the neighborhood. He may have a connection, or just feel that this is a safe haven, and that this area is one that he's so familiar with, he might be able to scoot into an alley or hightail into an area, a house or an apartment area that he knows. He's trying to get away. He obviously is trying to evade police. He knows that they have something on him. We are hearing that he's an assault with a
White's back, and they'll probably use a couple to block off some of the streets that are leading up there and just have to reroute traffic until they get there. But they'll clear up those resources rather quickly.
All right, so you've pretty much seen what happened here, and Jim Holcomb, thank you very much. And Rick, for you, this thing started, it looked very frightening for a while. We saw the guy drive through an apartment complex, it looked like, hit a gate, knocked a man over. We had a couple of pit maneuvers that were unsuccessful, and then it came to this end. We will bring it up to date on the latest on this coming up at 5 o'clock in Studio 11 LA, and that's it for us. We thank you for staying with us through this. And by the way, we invite you to join us tomorrow morning when, among other things, Marla gets up, and at 4:30,
I'll be here with Tony.
You'll be bringing everybody up to date on everything.
And I know everyone's going to want to know about that dog at 5 o'clock. We'll know what will have happened with that doggy.
There about the dog. By the way, we never got the weather today. It's hot.
It's 83 degrees right now in downtown Los Angeles.
All right. Thank you all. Have a great day. We will see you tomorrow morning.